Today we're looking at the 2014 Toyota Corolla Eco model. We've already had a chance to have a look at the new 2014 Corolla when they had the launch in Quebec City in the late summer, early fall of 2013. I encourage you to go and watch that review because it covers kind of all of the models. Today we're focusing more on the Eco. So this model is $20,200. That's $1,000 more than buying the Sport model, which was featured in a lot of the videos that came out initially. Now the Eco is different because it has a different engine, a little bit more power. It's supposed to be a little bit more efficient as well. So what you get with the Eco on the outside, you get 16-inch alloy wheels, and you also get fog lights embedded into the outside trim. So I'll get inside, I'll show you what's going on with the inside of this car. I'll explain, or try to explain anyway, how this new engine works, and we'll take it for a spin. Now before I get going, I want to let you know that there's one engine available in the Corolla. It's the 1.8 liter four-cylinder that's carried over from the last car. Now all but the Eco get that same engine. The only difference is in the Eco model, you get a different valve system. It's called Valvematic. And what it does is it bumps the horsepower up from 132 horsepower, gives you 140 horsepower. With a regular valve system in a car, you have a butterfly flap. That's the throttle body. We'll call it a butterfly flap. And that opens and closes and allows the air-fuel mixture into the car. Now when you're driving at higher speeds under light throttle, it's mostly shut. And when the valves are going up and down inside the engine, there's what's called a pumping loss. As the valves open and close, it causes suction between this almost closed valve body, you'll see it in the graphic on the left, and the valve. So what Toyota has decided to do is to have an electronic control unit that changes the valves. And what you'll notice on the left-hand side in the next animation is when you're driving along at higher speeds with light throttle, you'll notice that the throttle body, that butterfly we'll call it, is open. And how they regulate the amount of fuel and air mixture that goes into the cylinder is not at that throttle, it's down at the valve. They can change the opening and closing feature of that valve. So what that does is it eliminates what's called the pumping loss, that suction, that vacuum, that pressure that builds up there. And that's what makes a car inefficient. So by eliminating that pressure, the airflow is unrestricted and it produces more horsepower. It goes from 132 to 140, and it also creates greater efficiency. Hopefully I explained that to you. Now the upside to that is when the throttle is open, that throttle body I showed you, and then the valve opens up rather quickly, you get a much more instantaneous response, or the perceived throttle response, even though the throttle is set. So we're going to take it for a spin, and let's see how it all works with this new Corolla Eco model. Now the previous model I had to drive on the launch in Quebec City was the Sport model, and it does feel sportier, even though it only has 132 horsepower. I think it's the way that they've mapped the transmission. It's continuously variable transmission. That's the big change for the Corolla. You also have a Sport button on the console here that you push, and that helps mimic gears, and it shifts, and it's much crisper than you would get, say, with this car. Now you notice on the dashboard there's an Eco light, and there's also Eco mode. You can turn the Eco mode off, and it doesn't really feel that much different. With the Eco on, you're going to get the greatest efficiency out of the engine. That Valvematic system, along with the transmission and the throttle response, is all going to be modified to help you get the greatest efficiency. The regular 132 horsepower Corolla is rated at 6.9 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 6.1 on the highway. This Eco model with 140 horsepower drops the consumption to 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 4.6 on the highway. Now the Corolla overall is not on people's shopping list if you're looking for the most dynamic car. People are going to gravitate towards, say, the Ford Focus or the new Mazda 3, what have you. The Corolla is all about giving you good, reliable transportation, and now in a slightly sleeker package with a fabulous interior. The steering is electronic and being modified so that it gives you very light steering at city slow speeds, and it firms up on the highway, and you can notice that. The longer wheelbase makes the car more compliant, and the continuously variable transmission also makes it rather smooth. So when it all comes together, it makes this Corolla feel much more sophisticated. a little higher end, nicer interior, smoother ride, longer wheelbase, smooth transmission, and smooth engine. So people who are looking at a Corolla, I think those kinds of attributes are appealing. But if you want great A to B transportation that's efficient, definitely going to do the job. Toyota is very smart. They know their customers, and people who buy Corollas want function and they want to have creature comforts, but it doesn't have to be the splashiest interior. People are looking for value, durability, and long-term reliability. So that's what they've got baked into all Corollas. What they've done, though, with the interior of this car is they made it feel very large and open. They've achieved that by coming up with a very flat, wide front fascia to the dashboard. You can see that there's a brighter panel on the front, and that makes it feel open and wide, and it is. And you also see a screen here. Now, this Eco model comes with a backup camera standard equipment. It also comes with heated seats and automatic climate control. Other cars, you have manual climate control. That's a nice feature. Also has automatic headlights, which I particularly like. But back to the dashboard for a moment. With this design, it gives you lots of space in the front, and they've done a nice job of adding a little accent line in blue that goes across the top of the dash. It's the same color in every car, by the way. The biggest change for backseat passengers is the amount of legroom. They added a full 10 centimeters to the wheelbase of this car. When you make the wheelbase longer, it makes the cabin bigger on the inside, and that provides a lot of knee room, even for adults back there. A big trunk as well. So I'm going to take this car for a drive, and I want to try and explain as best I can how the Valvematic system works. Now, this Eco model is only available with a continuously variable transmission. If you want a manual, you're not going to get this engine. The Corolla packaging overall is still very good. This one is the best yet. Tons of room on the inside. I really do like the dash. It offers a lot of space and it has all the function you're looking for. For a family that's looking for a compact car, doesn't want to splash out a ton of money, the Corolla is still going to deliver the goods day in and day out. Not the most engaging and dynamic car to drive, but will deliver for most people. Is the Eco model worth the $1,000 more? Well, you have to do a little bit of math and get out a spreadsheet and think if you're going to save enough to actually justify buying this car. The Sport, to me, is still the most attractive model.